It's a wrap.
Yeah, buddy. Everyone was happy, but then all of a sudden, when this accident happened with Chernobyl, I was out, playing outside when this happened, and there was no warning.
Everything were radioactive, basically.
Yeah, and that's probably what made me sick.
You in the hip hop music, right? Mostly.
Yeah. Berner, the guy I work with, this guy on the Forbes magazine. Here, you see him. I battled against Snoop Dogg. Yeah, if you have some Russian artists, I would love to collaborate with them.
So Stinje, Berners, Hajime, we do.
Yeah, send me this.
Yeah. We're recording. We here in Bay Area, in San Francisco. Yaroslav, Yarik, aka Stinje. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to see you. Thank you for letting me, guys, for this legendary compound, for the studio. We in the Couchlock Network.
Couchlock Network. Couchlock Network. This is the Cookies compound, and this is the Couchlock Network.
And this is language barrier right there.
That's okay. We're gonna work through it.
I will call you Yarik, okay?
Yarik is always
Yarik, because our viewers mostly from the places you were born, and I'm been man. First of all, it's very good to see you because I've been following you on social media, but also shout out to all my friends here in Bay Area: Artur Shekman, Misha Sinitsky, Anton Cherkas. They've been telling me stories about you and your, let's say, your group of people that become very successful, the Cookies brand. So it's kind of legendary in San Francisco and Bay Area. Everybody's proud of it. When I told I'm going to make a podcast with you, like, oh, who's this? And I'm like, Cookies? I'm like, yeah, sure. Everybody knows. So great. It's cool. How are you, man? Good to see you. What's going on? How was your weekend?
Oh, it's pretty good. Just went to go see a basketball game the other day, went to a comedy show. I'm just hanging back, holding things down. Berner, the guy I work with, this guy on the Forbes magazine. Here, you see him. He's in Europe, and he didn't take me on this trip because I had to kind of stay back and look after things here. But I just a lot of just downtime, just going to the gym, working out, working on music, just focusing on social media, making new videos and stuff. I think social media takes up a lot of my time every day. I'm constantly thinking of what's next to post, and there's so many different platforms. You have TikTok, Instagram, you have Snapchat, Twitter. There's YouTube Shorts. There's MySpace, Facebook. I don't know.
Threads right now. Threads taking over.
Oh yeah, X. Yeah. I use X a lot actually, but specifically for my weed content. Because every other platform is very strict about cannabis, so I only post on X, on Twitter.
Yarik, did you, as soon as you posting a lot, did you see you from Bay Area, you from here, so you kind of watched all this .com boom, everything, the stages. So did you notice the changes in management of the X, the former Twitter, as Elon Musk came to the office? Let's say, did it change the platform? Because a lot of rumors, especially here in Bay Area, how he changed things a lot.
Yeah, it did change quite a bit. I noticed, Twitter or X, it's kind of like anything goes. I mean, first he started with doing the subscriptions, and I did subscribe for a little bit, but he removed everybody's verification check. So unless you're paying for the subscription, you're not verified, right? So that was the first big thing he did. And I noticed Instagram followed because they are now offering the Meta Verified as well. I just feel like the platform, you can literally post anything. Sometimes I start looking at my feed and I see some really disturbing things on there. And I always wonder, like, how are they able to get away with this? But from what I understand is Twitter is grandfathered in. They had the app going before the App Store came up with their guidelines and policies. So they have some kind of grandfather rule where you can post anything. Yeah. But I think it's good, but then it's kind of bad in some ways because there is a lot of hate speech that I do see on there. I saw people
abusing this option.
I've seen some very, very questionable content, just very racist stuff, and I was like, wow. Like sometimes I just like better not to even look at the feed.
There. It will ruin your day.
You might see like some faces of death. You might see someone getting killed. It's just exactly. So I like the freedom, but I mean, there needs to be some regulation, I think, because we can't have just anything, you know.
I'm sorry, Yarik. I see a lot of. I mean, I came from Los Angeles, but we in San Francisco, I got to change it a little bit.
Okay, there you go.
I mean?
Yeah,
there
go
you go.
Giants. Yeah. Yeah, I know the Dodgers. They are big winners this year. They're very good, but
Yeah, so a little respect to Los Angeles, the city I came from here. But I'm from Moscow and Vladikavkaz, even further.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I have a little present mentioning Russia and Moscow. So my friends, what do you think it is? Bold guess. What I can bring, Yarik?
I would guess it's some kind of alcoholic beverage, maybe.
And can you be more specific?
Vodka? Is it vodka?
So my friends from El Capitas, there's a very one of the before all the situation with Ukraine, El Capitas bar was in the top 20 best bars in the world.
Oh, wow.
And they start producing this perfect thing called Tsilovalnik. So from Russia with love is for you. I think it fits your compound.
This is very
maybe
nice.
on Christmas or next time you'll be number one on iPhone Music, Apple Music, and maybe Spotify. You can celebrate with that.
There you go.
The colors fit. So
thank you, bro. Try. That's a mouthful. Try saying that. How do you say it?
Tsilovalnik.
Tsilovalnik.
Tsilovalnik. Поцелуй, you know what поцелуй means kiss, but interesting story.
Поцелуй, да. It's a kiss.
Tsilovalnik. You remember the Ivan Grozny, right? The Tsar of Russian Empire, Ivan Grozny, and way back in the day. So the bartender culture. A little shout out to my friends. It's not advertising. You know, it's just my friends doing this limited edition. Very good drink.
Okay.
He asked me to bring to some guy, and I said no, I'm not giving it to him. You know, I'm sorry. He doesn't worth this vodka. So. I finally
feel honored. Thank you. Thank you.
But the Tsilovalnik, he was on my podcast too, Koля, and he told me the story. Tsilovalnik means it was back in the days in Russia, like a Middle Ages Russia. There was let's say a bar with a guy, not a bartender, but his name was Tsilovalnik. He promised not to serve you on less money and not to rob you or lie to you. He'll be very honest with you with the drinking thing. Tsilovalnik is the guy who back in the days bartenders, I understand. So this is the kind of job back in the days. Yeah, have fun.
So if I drink this, it will make the girls want to kiss me.
Yes, absolutely. Nice. This is the plan. Nowadays.
Very nice.
I'm sorry I interrupted about the social media, but growing up in Bay Area, so I just mentioned this .com boom. Can you go back like a little back 20 years ago, 25 years ago? You were a teenager back in that time, and all these big tech companies start growing basically.
Yeah.
I saw on Instagram mentioning social media. I saw the revenue of the companies, and in the 90s, the majority of the top 15 was Japan companies, Mitsubishi, etc. But right now, in top 15, 10 companies from United States, and they're mostly tech. So it's from the like Tesla, Google, Apple, the new ones. Let's say from your твоим взглядом, let's say, how you see it. Можешь рассказать? Can you tell me, like, from your perspective as a citizen, as a local?
When I moved here, you know, I was 7 years old. So I've definitely seen the big transformation that took place in the Bay Area and San Francisco particularly. And, you know, none of the people that I grew up with, I mean, I'm not going to say none of the people, but a majority of the people I grew up with no longer live in San Francisco. I mean, there's a whole new demographic of people that moved here, and it's a lot of these tech people, you know, and,
from all over the world.
Right. And back, you know, so when we moved here, my dad, you know, he was just driving like taxi and stuff like that, but and my mom was working like at Macy's, just selling clothes. But between the two of them, they were able to get enough money to buy a house. So they did buy a house for a reasonable price. Now you can't get a house for, I mean, less than
one of the
1.
most expensive places in the world, I guess.
Because it shot up. So luckily, my parents were able to get that house before the prices went up, and you know, I was able to kind of stay. I mean, I could still probably stay, but you know, having that house, it definitely helps. You know, so. But I've seen big changes, just with the people that are here, with the businesses, and just the price of everything going up. It's been crazy. Yeah.
I loved your album, Life is Wild, released in 2020.
Yes.
And honestly, искренне абсолютно. And in the first half of the album, you've been, basically you told your story, how you guys, how your family moved, the struggle, that not a lot of, there's a saying, не путайте туризм и иммиграцию. Don't mistake tourism and immigration, basically.
Right.
People like to have fun for a couple of weeks, but after you move to another part of the world, it's kind of tough. And through your songs, I kind of felt it when you're mentioning language barrier in school, this welfare line. So it's a very tough situation, basically.
Yeah.
And your story, why I was very interested, that your family moved before Soviet Union collapsed.
Yeah.
And you mentioning Chernobyl, and you from Belarus, right? So you kind of remember all this, what's going on back in the days with Chernobyl, and because you're 7 years old, you kind of recall what's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I definitely have memories. Yeah. And it's
the first memories of your life, basically, 6 years old.
And it's funny that it's the bad memories that stick with you. It's like you forget a lot of things, but it's like when something bad happens to you, you don't forget about it. At least that's how it is for me.
Especially when you're such a young age.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically what happened, we were living in Mogilov. It's a city near Minsk, not too far from Minsk. And, my dad was a successful musician. He did a lot of touring. He was a live performer. He was a great singer. He played a lot of different instruments. He worked for the House of Culture, or Dom Kultury. Yeah, and then they did a lot of like communist songs and stuff like that. And he had a great voice, and he enjoyed his life. My mom was an accountant. And, I have an older sister. She's 8 years older than me, Irina. And so, we had a pretty good life, like my dad was happy, everyone was happy. But then all of a sudden, when this accident happened with Chernobyl, first of all, they didn't tell any of us. So there was a big cover up.
In media was nothing. In media, nothing. Silence. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And then there was recently, I don't know if you've seen the show on HBO. They did a show called Chernobyl.
I started, but I didn't finish it.
There's it's like 4 episodes. Yeah. The one thing that was weird about the show is it was a great show. It won a lot of awards, but all of the actors had British accents for some reason. So they were like, "Hello, comrade." Like it didn't make sense to me, but it was a great show, and it kind of explained what happened. Yeah, and I learned a lot from it, and I did a lot of research, especially for this album, because I wanted to kind of tell my story and stuff. But basically, there was a big cover up. I was out, playing outside when this happened, and there was no warnings. Here, like we had this pandemic and there's big warnings, and it's like, hey, wear masks, stay inside. There's none of that. So until
kind of strange, right?
And according to what I learned from some of my research recently is it wasn't until some of the other countries started picking up on the radiation
because of the winds went to the Europe, right?
Yeah, because we're in Belarus, right? It went north, right? So Ukraine south, so it went north, and other countries started noticing it, and so at that point they had to admit that something had happened. There was a problem. Yeah, so everybody in my family was fine. I was very young at the time. I was I don't know, like 4 or 5 years old. So people that were my age, older people and younger people, kids, were affected by it because we had like weaker immune systems. So for me, I had like swollen lymph nodes. Like I had like my lymph nodes, my mom used to say they were like the size of knuckles.
Wow.
And just in my armpits, everywhere. And I was very weak. I couldn't walk longer than a block. I remember my dad having to carry me on his shoulders because I couldn't walk. I was just very weak. And then eventually they had to put me in a hospital.
As a result of radiation, all this thing.
Yeah, from the radiation. So I always used to think before that it was like because of the radiation in the atmosphere. But then after doing more research, they say that it was the radioactive rain, the clouds, because it would rain on the crops and on the the cows and the vegetables.
Everything stayed in the cloud. It basically went back to the
the milk. So essentially, I was probably drinking radioactive milk.
Everything were radioactive, basically. Everything.
Yeah, and that's probably what made me sick. It wasn't necessarily from being outside and it being radio. It's more so about actually ingesting radioactive material. So yeah, I was very sick, and then they put me in the hospital.
I'm sorry, Eric. And right now, people are scared to go to X-ray machine, but just saying.
Oh,
because of radiation.
Because of the radiation exposure. No, yeah, it's a real thing, It's and nobody else. Nobody else really got sick but me, like in our family. And I had a cousin. She didn't get. She was about my age. She didn't get sick at that time either. So everybody was kind of wondering, like, oh, maybe it's just me. But the thing is, they put me in a hospital, and I had to live in this hospital. I remember, and there was a lot of other sick kids there, and they were filled with these sick kids. And I remember I had to stay there for several months. Every day they were giving me shots on my butt cheek. I remember I would hide from them because I hated getting shots. I remember a traumatic experience. They had to rip out like my tonsils or something, but I just remember they strapped me down.
Glande,
yeah.
And they like this.
Yeah, like this, yeah. And they stuck a metal rod in my throat, just ripped out.
Without it.
Yeah, and nobody warned me. My parents didn't warn me about it, so I was like really shocked, and I was really mad, and I felt betrayed. So maybe even now it affects me, where I have like trust issues. I don't trust people because like as a young kid, I was kind of like went through some pretty
rough things.
Yeah. So eventually we had to make a decision, and we had to move. My mom's family was here in San Francisco. My grandma, my grandpa, and my mom's two brothers, they had moved here several years before. And my mom was pushing for us to leave, because the doctor said, if you don't leave, that I was going to probably die or get more sick.
Because you get more and more of this thing. Yeah. It's not going anywhere.
They're saying you have
years.
to leave. Yeah, exactly. So there was a big thing because my dad didn't want to leave because, he had a good life. He didn't know, like he was, at the time, I think he was 35. So he didn't know, what is he going to do? Like I have like a good situation
basically our
here.
Age, pretty much.
Yeah.
Our age, the 30, almost 40.
Exactly, yeah. And can you imagine having to just move to a completely different country, not knowing anything about it, not knowing the language.
And it's not now where you have a phone and everything.
Right.
Nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. No GPS.
It's banned to talk about them.
Right. So there was like fighting going on amongst the family, kind of like, no, we should stay, we shouldn't go. But eventually, thanks to my mom, because she would really push for it.
In this.
She insisted, and we had to go. So we left, and then we had to stay in Italy in a city called La Dispoli. It was a Lazio near Rome, and we lived in a apartment, like 3-bedroom apartment with like 4 or 5 other families. It was like a lot of people in this one apartment.
I'm sorry, traumatic experience. And after another traumatic experience, is just getting like...
Yeah, exactly. Right. Pretty much. But for a kid, yeah. But honestly, as soon as we came to Italy, I started feeling better. As soon as I got away from the radiation, like I just remember Italy just being good times for me, like going, because we were right near the beach. I was swimming every day. I was selling thermometers. So my parents brought a bunch of things with us so we can make extra money. So they bought stuff in bulk. So we had these like thermometers. So I would go on the beach and I would sell thermometers to people. I would say una mila thermometer, and I would come up to people, and then they saw a little kid selling thermometers. They were like, oh cool, yeah, I'll give you 1 mila. That's like $1. And so for me it was fun, but I remember my mom, she was very stressed out, and I remember her having a nervous breakdown in Italy. I remember she was like freaked out and started screaming, yelling. I didn't understand what was going on, but she was really stressed out because there was so much uncertainty. We were there for like 3 months waiting. And
you in the middle of your trip, right? You don't know like nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can go back and
we're kind of stuck. So we're waiting for the acceptance. We're waiting for the acceptance letter. And every day I remember we're going to wait for the mail, and the mailman would come. And I remember, and I mentioned this in one of my songs, like I saw a guy receive his letter, and he was so happy, and he was jumping up and down, like, yes, we got it. And then, and then we're still waiting. Well, when are we going to get our letter, And eventually we got the letter, But
I'm sorry, it's not a matter of 2 days, it's a matter of months.
Yeah. It was months. It felt like months. I mean, I was very young back then, but it was definitely like.
But from the good side,
at least
in
2
Italy,
months.
you got fresh air, good from the sea. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
for your immune system.
Right. No,
At
exactly.
least.
It cleansed me for sure. Like, immediately, as soon as I left, I was better. No more swollen lymph nodes. I was running around, riding my bike every day. Like I was much better. I mean, if you look at the pictures of me when I was in Italy, I was very skinny, like very like almost like it looked unhealthy, but. Luckily, you know, I was feeling better. So, and then not long after we came, and thanks to my grandma and my grandpa, they set us up with an apartment. They got an apartment for us in the Richmond district on 33rd and Balboa. And I remember we just came, and it was summertime, so we were having to wait for school to start so I can start going to school and stuff. But my parents, they would like immediately found jobs. My dad started driving taxi. He was doing some like construction work, like he was doing all kinds of anything that he could to make money. But my parents, the way it used to be back in Belarus, is they would just let me just hang out front. I would just hang with the friends, ride my bike. Yeah, exactly. But they didn't realize that you can't do this here in San Francisco. You can't just let your little kid just run around. So they would go to work, and I would be too scared to stay at the house by myself. I don't know. I would watch too many scary movies or something. So I would spend the whole day pretty much until they came home just wandering the streets by myself and getting into all kinds of trouble. And I would go to the arcade and I was hungry. Like, you know, I didn't have any food to eat, you know.
And you don't know the language yet.
And I didn't know the language, yeah. So I'm just like walking around, like not knowing.
Learning the hard way, as you say in the United States.
Right, exactly. I haven't started school yet, so. But yeah, it was fun. So my mom, one time she told me a story. She was getting her hair done. She was at a hairdresser, and
she saw you?
Well, no, the hairdresser was telling her a story about a kid that's been walking around, he's very young and just been walking around, you know, kind of lost, hungry and stuff like that. And then she was telling her this story, and then my mom realized that she was telling the story about me, and then they didn't realize I was the other one. But eventually school started, so I didn't have to do that anymore. But it was kind of a rough start, you know. Immediately we got here, and I was just.
It was rough start from starting from Belarus.
Yeah,
from Belarus, from Chernobyl,
it was just. It got better, but it got better, of course. But it went from bad to a little better, but still kind of bad. But and then and I started elementary school. I went to Lafayette Elementary School, and I remember as soon as I got there was another Russian kid there. This kid Felix, and he spoke English, so. The teacher told him, like, if you have questions, ask Felix. He will translate for you.
I'm sorry, Yannick. In the Richmond district, it's where most of the Russian-speaking community is in San Francisco.
There's a lot of Russians that live in the Richmond district.
You said about Felix in school. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. Yeah, and then so you know, I was just I remember after 1 year I learned English, like because when you're so young,
it's easy. It's for young.
You pick it up fast. So like by third grade, I was already speaking. I was pretty fluent. Plus doing ESL with Miss Maria. You know, shout out Miss Maria.
You mentioned Miss Maria, I think, in one of my songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Miss Maria. And it's very interesting for me because we live in a very time that a lot of transformation in culture, in society, in technology, a lot of from kids who was born in 80s, who saw this type of phone, VHS and stuff like that from way back. We like literally from different century, from different millennium.
Yeah.
And why I ask you how Bay Area changed, because Bay Area, I don't know, outside of maybe the United States, not a lot of people know it, but Bay Area is San Francisco especially. It's like a hotbed for all the modern trends in the world, basically. Since the hippies and everything, music, movies. I mean, just I think culture and style. A lot of things go from here.
Yeah,
people know Golden Gate Bridge, for example. Everybody know it, and even from the. San Francisco is a very unique spot on the map. So you're crossing the ocean, you go to the really Golden Gate, right? Bridge. And you mentioning, let's say, so hard things in your childhood. But right now, the generation is very a lot of attention to child. Like, oh my God, don't talk bad to my child. Like what you saying, for example, what we experience in our childhood is like unreal right now. Not only here, but in Russia too. Very child-oriented society. You said that this thing affected you. I want to talk about, because we are a grown man now, and as I understand, and myself, all the things that affected us in the childhood, they still kind of, can be affected the grown man life. I don't know, views, opinions, and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
For example, I have a friend, shout out to Oleg, and he said he's the only kid in family, and he said while he was living with a grandmother and parents divorced, and he said they always at the job all day long. I'm by myself, and I'm like kind of wandering in the neighborhood, sitting alone, and he remembering like a very, not the hard time, but very, not lonely, but complicated for a young kid, because, you know, I have two older brothers. It's a different story. Yeah, I got beat up a lot, but, you know, you always have a communication, never by yourself. You got like bullied a little, but you're getting stronger from it. Different thing. Yeah. And as a grown man, you know, you live through you mentioned, I learned, because a lot of honesty on the album, you've been honest. And I learned a lot from your childhood and how it affected you, this language barrier, because right now a lot of people moving to the United States and kind of facing the same things that you faced, but they have a lot of, you know, Uber, for example. I can go without language, go work on an Uber, and even never will speak English.
Right.
A lot of change. How it affect how you feel right now as a grown man, how your childhood affected you as a grown man. Do you still feel it? Or you kind of already, as a psychologist say, проработал, like you work on it, you know what I mean? I won't say trauma, but these issues as a grown man, what is the right word? Not haunts you, but you know, this trouble, hard things in the childhood, did it still, would you think, affect you or no? You kind of...
No, it definitely does affect
what do you, as a man who understands life already,
for sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I have, you know, bad dreams, like night terrors sometimes. You know, I sleepwalk. I think a lot of these things that I deal with, it's more in my subconscious, right? You know, like when I'm awake, I'm happy, everything's fine, but it's a lot of this stuff. Maybe you're dealing more in your sleep, you know,
when your security system is down.
Yeah, exactly. So absolutely. You know, my friends are always telling me, they're like, hey, you should go see a therapist. You know, you have some issues, you know, sometimes anger issues, you know, sometimes I might get angry.
I can't understand you, man.
You know, but overall, you know, what I always say is, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Absolutely. So adversity, it helps build character, and I feel like all these things that I went through helped me be the man I am today. You know, like sometimes I see some kids, they just have it too easy. You know, it's like you never really been through any challenges. You know, like and you learn from it. You know, you definitely learn from it. So yes, I deal with it, but at the same time, I don't live with regrets. I'm happy with everything, the way I did, what I chose to do, and who I am today. So
it made you, who you are today, right?
Yeah, because I just don't think that just living, being regretful is productive, you know?
Nothing, counterproductive, 100%.
Like I know sometimes I have friends who are like, oh, I wish I did this, or I shouldn't have made this choice. It was, hey, everything you did was for a reason. You know, we're probably living in a simulation anyway. So it's like everything's already predetermined. So don't spend time focusing on being regretful. It's like just...
look forward.
Look forward, exactly. Yeah. So,
there's nothing in it. It's already happened.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's very... Because when you got on... how can I say... познакомился with the hip-hop, when you learn your first... You in hip-hop music, right? Mostly.
Yeah. Yes.
You do. Because for you as a Soviet kid, I'm sure you heard as a kid rock and roll, I don't know, but it was there already. But hip-hop and rap, even here, was the new culture.
Sure.
And as I understand, you you're like an OG original. You was a kid as it was evolving the culture itself.
Yeah.
And in Russia in 90s and early 2000s, when I was a kid, Tupac, Notorious B.I.G., Mobb Deep, Nas, they've become very popular. And I think especially the times in Russia, hard times after Soviet Union collapsed, a lot of people can relate to the trouble that, you know, the black community here have. And as I understand right now, as a grown man, it's very hard, especially here, because so much, what is it, diversity, a lot of cultures, colors. It's not like Soviet Union was very different people, but pretty much looking pretty much the same, even from the looks. But here, it's like New York, you know, a lot of very beautiful people, girls in Moscow. But you got, for example, Russian, I don't know, Ukrainian, Kazakhstan, Kafkas. But for example, New York, you have like whole world. You have colors, everything, ethnicities. And here it's pretty tough because you have Oakland. It's not all about hippies or San Francisco, the song. It's a pretty, I mean, not that easy over here on the streets. And you even right now, you're in good shape. So you said you've been you've done wrestling. So you know what combat sport is. And you have even Olympians in your family. So as we say in Russia, постоять за себя. Did you know it from your family how to handle this? Because obviously you wasn't scared to go on the streets and walk around. Right. Not a lot of kids doing it. Right. I'd rather stay here. No, not doing much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never really had problem with anxiety. I have some friends that have problems with anxiety, and then
the question
they're more like, hey, reserved. They're like, oh, just stay here. I'm not, where it's safe. For me, I was always like, I want to get out there and do it. Like I've skydived once. I never thought I would skydive, but I went and did it, So it's like, I'm not really like, I've never been the type to be kind of, scared of and then I got robbed a lot of times being outside, being small. I was a big target. Like people would,
small white kid by himself. Bigger kids would see me at the bus stop, and they would pocket check me, and they'd be like, hey, what do you got in your pockets and stuff. And I was small, and and I would just kind of just be like, hey, I would give it up, but at one point I remember there was a point where I kind of crossed a line, and I decided it's time to stand up for myself. I picked a bad time to do it because I was kind of by my house, and there's like an Armenian church there, and I was waiting for the bus, and me and my friend were just waiting for the bus, smoking weed or whatever. And I was like, I think I was 14, and these guys First in Hill 12, I remember that.
It was near my house too. So these guys came up, and I heard them like speaking Russian, and they were trying to rob me. They were like, oh, what do you have? Do you have a pager, and you have some weed?
Motherfuckers, you speak in the same language you rob me?
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Exactly. So I
bitch move there.
I decided to take a stand for whatever reason, and one guy tried to reach for my pocket, and I slapped his hand away. And then a little guy come up and say, I'll fight you one-on-one right now. None of these guys will jump in, just me and you.
Liar.
So I said, all right. And so I punched him. I threw the first punch. But there was like 20 of them. So I ended up getting jumped by
one-on-one.
Yeah, the one-on-one. Yeah, I was fighting back, but at some point, I think I hit my wrist on something, or I don't know, I got cut. Maybe one of them have a watch, but a lot of blood started coming out of my wrist. So, and they were like, oh, get off him. It's fine. It's enough, or whatever. So at that point, I ran away and just. But I feel like it was that day I decided, I was like, I'm not gonna just.
Enough is enough.
Yeah, I'm not gonna just let people just do whatever. So at that point, I just started fighting. I mean, growing up, I was always like fighting with my friends. We had like boxing gloves and stuff. So I was, athletic, and I knew how to fight. I got punched in the face the first time, probably, I don't know, when I was maybe 10 years old. I was doing martial arts. That was the one thing I was keeping busy. I was doing like kung fu and karate when we first moved here. So combat was kind of like,
and it gives you confidence.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right, exactly. So. Yeah, but in terms of hip hop and music, what you were saying, to come back to that, when I lived back in Belarus, I was listening to a very popular song was the Final Countdown by.
It's a final countdown.
This was like my favorite song, and I didn't realize how big the song was until I saw it. I watched the movie. recently. It was about the guy who created Tetris. You seen that movie?
No, but and I know what you're talking about.
There was a scene in there when they went to a club and everybody was like getting turned up off this song, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize how big the song was. But I remember just
we have a good vkus. You never read for the music.
Good taste, yeah.
Good taste.
Yeah. So back when I was in Russia, I was listening to that. I was listening to a lot of like Michael Jackson. I remember the Thriller album.
Because your father was a professional musician. He was into all kinds of stuff.
So my dad loved the Beatles. That was like his favorite. So he any Beatles song that he would hear, he would just immediately know it, and he knew how to perform them and sing them. So I definitely got the ear from him. He had a great ear for music, and he taught me how to play music a little bit too, like the drums and keyboard and stuff like that. But I never been like formally trained how to do music, but I've always had a natural ability for it, like just a good, ear, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure with proper training, I could have been even better, and but I work with what I have, basically. So, but eventually, when I moved to America, I got exposed to
music wasn't your
music.
thing. Like you wasn't thinking about the music as your thing you can do as a job, or
I never thought about it at all at that point. Yeah, but I always remember as a kid, I knew I was like, I'm gonna be some type of a star or whatever. I used to make like funny faces in the mirror and make like, and I was just like, oh, I got some really good facial expressions. Like this is gonna be good. So I always had like this like funny aspect to me where I knew how to like make people laugh.
Entertainment, right?
Yeah. So I kind of knew that I wanted to do entertainment. Even as a kid, I didn't know exactly in which form that was. And now with social media, it's like I'm doing comedy, I'm doing music, I'm doing like everything. Basically.
Yeah.
So, but I always, even at a young age, I remember back in Belarus, I had a feeling that I was going to be some type of.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So
it's a very young age.
Right. So, but
you didn't want to be a požarnik.
Yeah, I didn't want to be a firefighter, nothing like that. Yeah.
Or cosmonaut.
Not a cosmonaut. No. Yeah.
And as I remember, once again, shout out to Artur for helping to do this. But I remember when he was telling me the first time about you and the cookies thing, he mentioned the Sunset Street, I don't know, the area when it's all developed. So you kind of, through music, you got into the cannabis industry, or how can you tell your, let's say, your journey, you know what I mean? Because it's very interesting, because you do multiple things actually.
Right.
Because the older generation, it should be, you have to have job, and I have to understand what you're doing from 9 to 6, right?
Yeah.
But you kind of the modern type of entrepreneur. You do, and you not only in entertaining business, but as we say, it's retail, agriculture, different style.
There's a lot. Yeah.
They call it serial entrepreneur, serial businessman.
Okay.
Not a serial killer entrepreneur.
Serial entrepreneur.
You're killing it in the business.
Right.
Can you just because I think for a lot of people will be interesting, especially while a lot of folks, I don't know, living not only Russia, but their countries. United States has been always like a dream for a lot of people. I'm here as a tourist and I kind of understand what's going on here because I've been here a lot of times, never thought to move here. And that's the beauty of it. I like it from the, outside.
Yeah.
And I love it. But a lot of folks, they crossing from Mexico. There's a big subject on the elections. And so usually people don't think like you, especially kids. I will be in entertaining business, especially from Soviet Union. They kind of, I'll find a job.
Right.
There's more chances for you to, as a Soviet kid, to find out the big tech startup, not in the hip hop, to be successful in hip hop. Right. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So can you share more of your journey, how you become, like start doing beats and stuff?
Yeah.
Because for me, I never done music myself, but I love music. It's never been a day in my life without a music. You know what I mean? And by the way, I'm sorry for doing it a long speech, but there is a neuroscientist in Russia, Chernigovskaya. I will send you her interviews. And he's saying that if your kid listening to music, it's the best investment for his older days when he become old. Because from listening, she said that music itself, it's a language. And if you like you have a good ear, you recognizing the language. That's why you can start crying without the words. You know, you're listening to the music like, oh, it got you.
Right.
Because I think the guy who was writing the song, he kind of get it as a language too. So it developed your neural network, нейросвязи. Neural links system. And music is very crucial for developing of the brain. I didn't know, I just found out. So yeah. Please.
I can definitely see it. Yeah. Well, so the whole idea probably came from, you know, wanting to be an entertainer or whatever, is because probably I saw what my dad was doing, and he was, you know, going on tour, doing shows, and
he loved it, as I understand.
Yeah. So I think that's probably where the idea came from, is I wanted to be like my dad. So along the way, you know, I learned how to play some instruments and things like that, but it wasn't until I was in high school. So my dad bought a keyboard from the Price Club, the Costco. You know, it's like a Yamaha keyboard. I still have it, just like a $300 keyboard. And I used to play it, and you know, I learned to play some like Beethoven songs, and my sister would teach me some things. My sister used to also play some instruments, and she used to sing, stuff like that. And then one day I remember, so I went to a high school. I went to McAteer High School, and it's back when I was going there, it was pretty rough. Like I was one of the only white kids. I mean, besides me, there was like one other Russian kid there. I remember.
It was the next question about the hip hop, by the way, being white and started doing hip hop. Yeah,
exactly. So I got kind of put in this environment where I had to kind of adapt, you know, and being like, you know, from a different country, like this is something that I became good at, is being like a social chameleon, is being able to kind of fit into different groups of people, and especially you know, living in San Francisco, there's so many different type of people there. So basically one time my buddy Joe, he was on the football team with me. He would come over, we'd play video games and stuff, and he noticed that there was a keyboard that had a keyboard, and I guess his older brother was a rapper, and he asked me like, well, hey, have you ever tried to make beats? And I was like, I mean, I play around with it, but not like, you know, hip hop beats and stuff, you know. And I was like, and then I remember that day we messed around and we like made like a beat, and I had a little tape recorder, and we kind of like we just recorded some freestyles. I think I was maybe like 14.
But hip hop wasn't that big at that time, right? It was the new genre.
No, it was. So the way I got into hip hop, I remember, is so I liked, you know, pop music and all kinds of stuff before I came to America. But then when I came here, I remember when we lived there on 33rd and Balboa, we had a neighbor, Igor. He was a Russian also, and he would listen to like all kinds of different music. And I remember he dubbed me a tape of Metallica, and I got into Metallica, you know, like Injustice for All. So I was like very big into heavy metal for a while.
I'm still
and then one day he gave me a tape. He gave me The Chronic by Dr. Dre, and that was my like first like rap tape that I had. And I remember I listened to that, and it just kind of like blew my mind. I was like, whoa, like this is like totally different, you know. And I remember I bought like Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style album, and then eventually in middle school, I got influenced by some other friends. They introduced me to a lot of Bay Area rap, and it wasn't until like it was in 7th grade, about like, you know, all the local artists, you know,
Mac Dre. I know Mac Dre.
Yeah, Mac Dre, E40, San Quinn, Messy Marv, you know, JT the Bigger Figure. Like I became a very big
live from 415.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm sorry.
so I already like was listening to a lot of Bay Area rap music already. So fast forward to I'm in high school with Joe, and he's just like, hey, let's try to make a song or whatever. So that day we made something, and it was like we went back and listened to it. We're just like freestyling. Back then they used to call me White Mike for whatever reason. I mean, I go by Eric, but you know, there was some kid at school said that I look like this guy White Mike from this show, the Wayans Brothers. There's a white guy in the show. Anyway, so it spread like wildfire. Everyone started calling me White Mike. They thought my name was Mike, so that kind of became my rap name. I was just like rapping as White Mike. Yeah, so
you got into this thing immediately. Yeah. You felt in love and started rapping.
Yeah, well, it was for fun at that point, you know, mostly for fun. And it wasn't until I graduated from high school, and then what happened, 2 blocks away, my neighbor, he was a little bit older, my buddy Dunce, his name is Dunce, and he had a studio in his house, and he had a similar situation to our house, where he had like a downstairs little like a room or whatever, and then he had all the big artists coming through there. Like, I mean, like Messy Marv, San Quinn, like all the big San Francisco artists, you know, Jacko was over there, and he was way more advanced. So I one time my friend, a mutual friend of ours, brought me over there, and I was like mind blown. I was like, wow, this is like what I've been doing, but like on a whole nother level. So I started going over there. And he liked to smoke weed and stuff like that. But I started going over there, have a little weed or whatever, and I would just kind of absorb what they were doing, try to understand. These guys
are one of the best in this, from Bay Area, right? You in the community who like...
Yeah, he was working with the best rappers, yeah. And my buddy Dunce, he was a great producer, and then they were also working on a project of their own. He produced for a lot of big Bay Area artists, but there was like, they were also working on their group album. It was a bunch of white guys. It was called the Funky Fresh Sex Crew. You can look it up. It's on Apple Music, whatever. But it was my buddy Shemp, Wyatt, W, Lobie Mac, Private Ryan, and then Dunce. And they were like a rap group. So I was like, I saw what they were doing, and I was like really excited. I was like, this is exactly the lane I want to go in. Like, I'm a white guy. Like, they were doing like dope music, but it was also kind of funny. So there was like a good balance between the two. And I started to hang around with them, and I would get in and add some sounds to some beats and stuff like that, and help produce, and I would help promote their stuff. They would have a bunch of flyers. So I would like start passing out flyers near my school. I was going to San Francisco State at the time. I was like studying kinesiology, just trying to be like a personal, a physical therapist. So I was kind of going to school for that. But in the back of my head, I was like, I really enjoy doing music. If this music doesn't work out, I have something to fall back on, So, and I did
a degree. You mean
a degree? Yeah. So I do have a Bachelor of Science in kinesiology. So I worked as a personal trainer for some years. But yeah, so it was good to have that. But at the meantime, I was working on music, smoking a bunch of weed and just passing out flyers near my school and stuff, just showing them like, hey, I'm like a team player. I want to be down with you guys. Like, I like what you're doing, And then my buddy Dunce, he was like, hey, you want to step your shit up to the next level? You got to get a real keyboard. So he recommended I get the Roland Phantom. So I didn't have the money at the time. It was like $2,000, and I had to borrow like some money from my parents. I was like, hey, I want to do music, and I want to be serious about it.
Real, the big one.
A real nice keyboard. Yeah. So I went to Guitar Center, and my parents helped me buy this keyboard. I think I had $1,000 on my own. They gave me the other $1,000 or something. And then from then on, I started as soon as I got that keyboard, everything changed, because people kept coming to my house. I had the downstairs.
Now you got the equipment.
I had the equipment. Now it changed. It's like, it went from, we're just doing this for fun, but all of a sudden now everybody wants to be there. So I became like almost just like a slave. Like, it was like a full-time job. I was like sitting there, like working. The next artist wants to do a song. Like, I just had all these guys at my house. And one day, my buddy Toriano, he's the guy I was working on. We were working on his album, doing a lot of production for him. He brought over Berner, this guy, and I think it was like 2002. And he brought him over, and he was just an aspiring artist at the time. He said that he was doing open mic, battle rapping, but he never really recorded in a real studio. He
was doing his first steps in hip hop too.
So he brought him over, and he was a really cool guy. He came over, he had really good weed, he had good energy. He was like, had money for beats. He was like, hey, I'll pay you for your time. He didn't want anything for free, because up until then, everyone I was working with was like, there was no money. Everything was free. Yeah. But he came in with like, hey, I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. And
I'm sorry, Eric, but on the good side of it, for free, but you were gaining experience, right? You were mastering your craft for it, right?
Exactly. I was working with aspiring artists, and it was a great learning experience. And but then when Berner came through, he was different, because he knew how to take care of people. He would like, hey, you're hungry? Let's go get some food. He knew the value of you know, taking care of people, buying them a meal, it goes a long way. You would never know, like when you take someone out to eat and you cover the bill, like that really like speaks to a person. They're like, oh wow, this guy's really nice, you know. So we became really good friends, you know. But he started coming over every day, and we started recording music, and we started working on the Berner and Stinje album. Because I was rapping, he was rapping, and he was learning, I was learning too.
I just realized it's more than 20 years ago, but just take you go.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the initial like interaction with me and Berner. It was music. We connected on music. But then he started to kind of like you know, to excel as an artist. He just decided to start taking it more seriously and really like putting money into it and getting features from big artists. So at that point, I kind of decided, I was like, do I really want to be like another white rapper? It's kind of hard enough. I was like, let me just focus on production. So I kind of stayed in that lane, right? For a long time, I was just doing
producing
beats.
music.
Yeah. So he put out his, you know, first album. You know, I produced some stuff on there, and then, you know, if he had like an artist that needed to come through to record something, you know, my studio was open to him. So I remember the first time he ever made a song with the Jacka, R.I.P. to the Jacka. And he's a legend, a Bay Area legend. He got killed. I think like it was 2015 or something like that. Unfortunately, but the first song he ever did, he brought him in my studio. We recorded it there. And then he brought Yuck Mouth over. I remember that was really exciting for me. You know, Yuck Mouth from the Loonies. You know that song, I Got Five on It? I got five on it. Yeah,
so I'm listening while running. I love it.
So I produced a song for Berner and Yuck Mouth. It's on one of his first albums. It's called Rich and Famous. So it was just like, I noticed working with Berner, it was like there was a lot more opportunities like arising.
And you connected from the beginning, like, as a friend.
Exactly. But sometimes, you know, we would fall out and get into arguments, you know, and it would be funny. You know, we would get into an argument one day, and then I'd go make a diss song about him, and then he'd go to some other studio and make a diss song about me. But at the time when I met him, he was working at the coffee shop. He wasn't even like in the weed game yet. He had connections. He knew people. He had
and the weed game was totally different thing back in the days, right?
It was Proposition 215. Like, so California is the first place where weed became medically legal
96.
In the 90s, right? Yeah. So it was medical at the time.
I'm sorry, I was watching, I'm sorry for interrupting, but interesting fact, Be Real from Cypress Hill was Joe Rogan's podcast, and they were talking about the medical cannabis, and he's like, do you know the number of my license in California? Be Real asked Joe Rogan, no, number 2. He was the second.
Oh, he was the second guy?
The second guy in California.
I didn't even realize
96, yeah.
Oh, wow, in 96. Yeah,
like he said.
He's a real OG in the game. So yeah, at that time, I mean, the medical days were like the best days in some senses, because it was just, you're free to kind of do whatever you want. Like,
I'm sorry, Yarик, for our viewers, explanation. Объясняю. В Калифорнии абсолютно легален каннабис. И здесь это большая индустрия. Это не реклама каннабиса, это разговор с бизнесменом, который занимается этим легально. Так что никакой ерунды. Смотрите и учитесь, как делать бизнес. Yes, Yarик, I am sorry.
That's right. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, you know, weed is legal here.
Yes.
But it's not federally legal, right? Yeah. The state law says it's legal. Federal, it's illegal still. That's what we were working on, right? Currently, we want it to become federally legal. So it's just legal everywhere, just like alcohol or tobacco and stuff. So back then in the medical days, it was definitely... It was like the Wild West, man. You know, anybody could pull up to a dispensary with 5 pounds and you could sell it to them without any license or whatever. They were just buying weed. It was, now everything's so regulated, you know, it's a completely
By
different
the way, in
ballgame.
Amsterdam, they still call it a backdoor problem because they selling you bullshit sometimes. Like somebody from the back door was selling a couple of pounds of weed and they're like, yeah, you know, this cookies, for example.
That's the song that I have on my last album I did on Microdose. It's called Trapping Out the Back Door. And it was actually about this concept. I said, you know, I was just saying, just fuck the legal market. We're just trapping out the back door. We're selling, you know, it's a funny concept because, you know, it's difficult to do legal business sometimes, you know.
And it's from the profit, we will come back to it, but the regulations, as I understand, killing the legal business right now here. Like in California, there's
the taxes,
you have too much to pay.
The excise tax are way too expensive. It just, when the person goes into a dispensary, they get charged way too much. And if you look at the taxes, it's just way too much. So that's why people are still buying weed just from their local
black market
dealer, from the black market. Yeah, because they don't want to pay these crazy taxes. And the other thing is they make you, before you could actually put your weed on the shelf, it has to sit there for like a month. So a lot of times the weed kind of gets dry in that process, because the way it used to be during the medical days, I pulled up with a pound of Stinje OG to the cookie store, and the next day it was on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? So it was fresh. Now it's like you have to wait a month. So when you're asking for something fresh, they're giving you something fresh, not like, you see, it was a month ago. Yeah, something like that. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, and with all these regulations, they're making us jump through all these hoops. They're making it a lot more difficult, So, don't quote me. I mean, maybe some things have changed. I don't know the laws specifically. I don't,
Yeah, we just cut the conversation.
Yeah. Maybe not now, Wikipedia. But I remember when I was doing my Stinje joints, because I have like my own pre-roll company. They were like, okay, we have the weed now. It got tested. Now it has to sit there for a month, and then we can make the pre-roll out. I just remember it was like, why does it have to sit there for a month? That's crazy. It's getting stale. So there's yes, it's good that it's legal, but there's also some downsides to it.
By the way, in Oakland, in 2019, I went to the Amsterdam University. It was
nice.
You maybe heard of it.
Yeah.
4 days of education, legal cannabis.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
4 days. Oh,
4 days. Full day.
Cookies. We have our own university, Cookies University. It's in Humboldt County in the Garberville. You learn everything. You learn
about the cannabis business.
Yeah. You learn how to grow. You learn how to operate store. And you live there on campus. So we have they only take like 5 people. Like every like year or whatever. There's like thousands of people that apply, and they only select like 5 people.
And even from the business, not even, but from the business point of view, I remember like 5 years ago, I was in a conference in Paris, and there was the guy who was the head of California, like cannabis union, something like that, and cannabis business. And he said there is more already 14 types of licenses in like for delivery, open doors. It's a big, huge industry basically.
Absolutely.
And please continue.
But that's the other problem. That's the other problem is it's flooded. The market is flooded. There's so many grow operations that have started since it became legal. So the problem that we have now is there's too much product and not enough customers.
Yes.
Right. Sometimes when there's, when there's too much product, then it's hard to move it all.
Yeah.
I know. I just came from Humboldt County. They're having trouble out there. They used to make a lot of money in Humboldt County. Now it's dying out. They're saying I was up there. They're saying people are getting divorced because people aren't able to make money. You can get a pound of weed of some fire outdoor for like $500 out there, or like it's super cheap. Yeah,
because the growth is pretty much the same money to grow it, as I understand.
Yeah,
right. From the business point of view, it doesn't work like now.
Right.
So as you said, it's over-regulated and stuff like that. But as a cannabis entrepreneur, you guys are maybe the only ones who doing the business around the world.
Yeah, well,
right. This is your thing.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Cookies have open stores. Like we have over 70 stores. Like you said, you went to the Cookies in Thailand, in Bangkok.
In Bangkok, yeah.
So it was
right
cool.
after opening.
Yeah. Oh, right after the opening. You missed the opening. It was crazy.
23, I guess. In 23 open.
Yeah.
I was spent the whole summer in Bang Tao. I was in Phuket in the camp. But I was meeting with some friends. By the way, I was meeting with the guys in Bangkok from Hajime Records. They were shooting the music video in Bangkok.
Oh, really?
And I flew in to see them. I hang out with them, and we went to the cookie store. It was beautiful. I have pictures.
You were in Phuket. There's a lot of Russians in Phuket. I was there. There's some party going on, but there was a lot of Russians.
Thailand is very interesting, Yarik, because in Thailand, it's the only place, I used to say it like this, it's the only place in the world you can see Americans and the Russians like in the big numbers in a neutral territory. And you can learn a lot of both nations. They're very similar. How they treat the different nations, other nations.
Right.
Super the same.
Okay.
Different language.
Yeah. No, that's what I kind of noticed. I was like, this is the vacation spot. That's what I got that they go to. Like we go to like Hawaii or something, you know. You guys go to Phuket, yeah.
We go to Turkey actually. It's
Turkey?
For couple of hour flight, but Phuket for us is far away, more than 10 hours for Russians.
Oh, okay.
Long flight.
Oh, 10 hours?
10 hours, 12 hours.
Oh, that's long.
Dependent on the part of Russia.
Oh.
Some parts maybe like Novosibirsk, I don't know, it's
I
closer.
thought it was closer. 'Cause our flight took forever. I was
The same thing. 11, the half of the day you're flying to have fun.
That's interesting. But yeah, so cookies have gotten so big. But I was working with to go back to what I was saying with Berner, even before cookies became a thing. He was just an artist, and making music.
You connected on the music thing.
Yeah, and he was working at the coffee shop, and then eventually he got a job working at the Cannabis Club. On Geary Street, and that's where he was able to figure out how to take it to the next level. Well, first of all, the thing that he doesn't get enough credit for is he's like one of the first people to actually put a logo for weed, for cannabis. Before then, it was just different strains were in jars, and it would say Trainwreck or Romulan or whatever.
Mido,
right?
There.
But he had the vision to put an actual logo. You know what I mean? To put a logo on the weed, and now you see everybody
like in the real business,
right?
Yeah,
he would in that he had this idea. For some reason, nobody else had thought to do this. You were singing in
one of the songs. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, but you were explaining, guys. First of all, you have to develop the logo, and you actually laying out the whole business.
Yeah, it was the song is called "Show You How."
Basically showing how. Yeah,
exactly. But so. He's like a visionary, he was working at the Cannabis Club. He saw what the business was like, and then he was meeting a lot of big artists. So that's how he met Wiz Khalifa, because Mr. Fab, shout out Mr. Fab, he brought him over to the Cannabis Club, be like, hey, when you're in town, this is who you go see. Berner became like the guy that people see.
Cannabis Club was a dispensary, or what is it?
Yeah, it was a dispensary, and it also had a consumption lounge where you could just smoke weed. You could buy your weed, and you could go sit at the couch and smoke.
Yeah,
so not a lot of places have the consumption part of it. They just you go in, you buy, you leave. But this one's special because they have the consumption lounge.
Yeah,
which was really cool. So. So he met Wiz Khalifa, and then he became friends with him, and he got signed to Taylor Gang, to his record label. And for me, I thought it was very exciting because I was, he was my friend, but also, I was working on music as well. So it was like an opportunity for me to do some production for bigger artists as well. So, and eventually I did. I produced
all this time. I'm sorry, you're developing in music as a professional. I'm making beats.
And I'm still making.
You work and you never
me and Berner still have a relationship, primarily just. Like I help him with little errands here and there, or pick up some food or whatever at that point. And then, but the majority of the time is I'm making beats.
Yeah, I mean your own focus in life. I mean,
that's
it's always your thing. Yeah. Yes,
but Berner, he was progressing. He was meeting new people. He was meeting like bigger and better producers. He was meeting bigger artists. So for him, it's like he's leveling up. So for me, it's like I was still trying to get in there and get in where I can. And play my position. I understand there's people that are better at this than I am, but I'm still I have the connection. And I have a good, a passion for it, so I'm going to keep doing it. So, but I did end up getting to produce Berner's one of his biggest songs. It's called Paradise with Berner and Wiz Khalifa. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but unfortunately, the song is no longer available on platforms because Phil Collins basically sent a cease and desist. We never cleared the sample, and he made us pull it off. But
Phil Collins is a musician.
Yeah, from Genesis. Yeah. Asshole.
Think twice.
Great musician, but he wasn't very nice in this situation. So he made us pull it off.
You need that cash.
This song was on its way to be going gold. It probably would have been gold by now.
Gold, single, you mean?
Yeah, gold means 500,000 units sold.
And platinum was 1 million.
Platinum is 1 million.
All right.
So That was my opportunity, but it was, we didn't clear the sample, and they took it away. But there's a video for it. The video, I think, got like 35 million views on YouTube. It's just a very big song. People still listen to it. They have it saved. It's on YouTube, but it's no longer on streaming platforms. Yeah. So anyway, once Berner signed with Wiz Khalifa, he was working at first on a clothing brand with him and Wiz. It was called Freshco. And they kind of did the Freshco thing, but then Berner also at that point, started the brand for cookies. So before cookies was even a clothing brand or anything, it's a strain of weed. What is cookies, right? It's a strain of cannabis. Right?
Boy Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookies.
Got Girl Scout.
Boy Scout cookies.
Yeah, I'm not from here.
At first it was called Girl Scout cookies.
I'm Russian mind.
The Boy Scout cookies. Yeah, so the Girl Scout cookies, it was what the strain was called.
Boy Scout is thing, Boy Scout, like pioneer.
Yeah, there is Boy Scouts, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
we got to drop the new strain called the Boy Scout cookies. You heard it here first. So and this came like maybe in like 2007 or something like that, 2008. I remember when Berner, we were working on music and stuff, and I was selling weed to like my friends and stuff like that. And he was like, I got this new weed right here. It's the best shit out. And it's called Girl Scout cookies. And he's like, I'll sell you an ounce. But then he charged me like way more than I usually paid. He's like, don't worry, just sell it for $60 an eighth and you'll get your money back. So I bought the ounce from him and I went and I sold it to all my friends. I even made a song. I went and sold it to my friend, an eighth, to my friend Shiesty. He had a studio and we made a song called Girl Scout Cookies. And we were like, if you listen to the song, we're like, who the hell called it Girl Scout Cookies? What a weird name. But the reason why it's called Girl Scout Cookies is Jai, the creator of Girl Scout Cookies, it basically, when you smoke it, it's sweet. It's a sweet smell. It smells like a fresh batch of Girl Scout cookies being baked in the oven. So that's why it's called cookies.
Yeah.
So cookies became really big on the streets. And if you listen to that song I did to show you how, it's like before you come out with a brand, you got to make sure it pops on
so
the
I
in the
heard
streets.
about the cookies back in days from the guys from San Francisco. We have this cookies brand. They told me because they into the
yeah. So you heard about it, because cookies became real thing. So big.
Artur told me about it. We were on the street and he said, this is Sunset, as I remember.
Yeah.
So this started here. He was explaining me the cookies raised something. He was explaining me as a local.
But see, at first when cookies came out, there was no logo for it. It was just a strain. But it became really popular.
Word of mouth. Cookies,
but also the original pounds of cookies had seeds in them. Right now, if you get a pound of weed and it has seeds, it's actually bad. But Berner is such a good marketer. He convinced people that this was good. He said, if it doesn't have the seed, it ain't the breed. That's what he used to say.
Oh,
and he still used to charge a shit ton of money for these seeded packs. But what happened is, people got seeds everywhere, and then they started growing it, and that's how it just.
So basically, you're paying for the seeds and for the weed, right? So
pretty much, yeah. but everyone started having cookies, and cookies is like special. It was a special strain before cookies. I mean, some of my all-time favorite strains from the past were like Pelly, like Champelli, and then there was also like Nade. These are like San Francisco Bay Area, like classic staple brands, but. Like Champelli, something happened where it went extinct. Like if you don't take care of the plant, it could go extinct, and then that strain could just be gone. You know what I mean? So cookies was like the next like big strain.
And Bay Area
since Pelly, whatever.
This area is very, let's say, important in cannabis culture and industry. Emerald Triangle, right? This is a lot of places where cannabis and strains were born, actually.
Right,
as I understand.
Absolutely, yeah. The counterculture and the legalization. This is like the green rush. It's like the California had the gold rush back in the day.
49ers,
right? But then there was the green rush, right? Everybody that wanted to come here to try to do cannabis business, and it's like the mecca of cannabis.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. But so cookies, that you understand. So Berner, fast forward, he's doing the clothing line with Wiz, the Freshco or whatever, and then on the side he was like, well, why don't I start cookies? And then he started doing clothing, and the first thing he started with like hoodies, and he did the cookies hoodies and put them online, and they sold out. Like he did like something creative. He put like shoestring through the
this thing,
like what you have in your shoe. You put it through here, through whatever, and it started selling out, and it just became really popular. It just became hot. Everybody wanted it, and he saw the need for the cookies, and he just ramped that up. He just kind of went with that. Like Freshco, it was a good idea, but there's maybe like, I don't know, Wiz wore it for a bit, but maybe there was too much cooks in the kitchen. Berner saw that cookies was like something he could do on his own. You know what I mean? So he just got behind it. And then I remember he dropped his video the first time I saw cookies when he did a song with Wiz, Chris Brown, and Big Crit. It's called Yoko. The song's called Yoko. And he wore this cookies hoodie. That was the first time people seen it. And that song got a lot of exposure, a lot of views. And so he started ramping it up, like, making money on the website,
clothing lines.
And then eventually just he kept ramping it up, and we brought in a sales guy, shout out Brian Wilson, brought in the sales guy that used to work for LRG, and he turned what was just like online sales, he turned it into like a real clothing company. We got clothing in Zoomies, mainland. We have all across the country. We have stores. We opened like a brick and mortar style
started
store.
From the clothing line, the cookies brand. It's originally started.
That's what came first, because the thing is, what was good about cookies, people could wear it, and they're like, so if you know. If
brand recognition.
But if you know what it is, you're like, oh, that's weed. Like, oh, I like that. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And it's sexy back in the days, like illegal stuff.
But then random people would be like, oh, I love cookies. And they don't know what it is. So it kind of works on both levels, So, but exactly what you said is brand recognition. People are walking around promoting
for free.
It's free promo. Everyone sees it. Everybody wants to wear it, Even like the Migos, they're rapping about it. You hear the raindrop drop top smoking on a cookie smoking on a cookie in a hot box. It's
a super popular song.
Yeah, that was a huge song. And those guys are always saying cookies in the background. Cookie, they're like, always, So it became
as you say, self-conscious. You having cookies on your background, on your back.
Subconscious,
subconscious, yes. Подсознание.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you wake up, you want cookies. Exactly. So it was just crazy to see. Like, it started with the clothing. We opened our first store on Haight Street. Haight Street is like the center of like counterculture. Like back in the 70s, the hippies and all the protesting and all that. It was all in Haight Street. That's a very, very iconic place. So we opened a store right there on Masonic, right off of Masonic and Ashbury, and on Haight Street. That was the first brick and mortar style store that we opened. Before any cannabis clubs, that's what we had. And then
cannabis still illegal recreationally. You just do
it was medical.
Medical,
yeah. It was still medical. But then after that, Berner took it to the next level, and then opened his own cannabis stores. And then just been opening all over the country, all over the world.
Let's say this was your guys' know-how. Like, this is the first thing who go globally in cannabis.
Yeah.
They were, as I remember, from the business side, there was a couple of Canadian companies. They were worth a couple of billions. Canopy Grow, something like that.
Right.
They were on the open market, on the stock exchange. But then after COVID, they just disappeared.
Yeah.
They were only in stock exchange.
Right.
But you guys been very consistent.
Right.
And I think it's a very interesting case in business schools. How guys been developing.
Yeah.
And consistency is very important thing, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, Berner, he's just, that's a natural talent that he has. He has like a superpower, so he's like, he dropped out of high school. Like, he never went to business school, but he can talk business on these guys who went to Ivy League schools. It's just come natural to him. So
like a music ear, you know what I mean? You can hear it somewhere.
And to go back to the music is what drives it all, because that's the tool that you can rap about it, you can make a song about it. That's what makes it cool. So it all kind of works together.
Одним выстрелом двух зайцев. You're shooting the two rabbits with one shot. Bam, bam, right?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. So it's been crazy just to see the evolution of how it happened. But basically, in 2014 is when Berner like called me. I was living in LA and he was like, hey, stuff's starting to really pick up. I need somebody that I can trust, that can ride with me. I need you to be my road manager. You know, we're going to go on tour. I need you to help me with merch. I need you to help me just with routing the tour, everything. So up until then, we were friends. You know, I would send him beats. We would hang out, mostly music. But on 2014, my life changed significantly because I went and started working for Berner full time. As being like his right hand man, you know, like, you know, Batman and Robin, you know. So we,
and people in the city that recognize you, like, you know, Berner and Stinje. A lot of people know you like a duo, dynamic duo.
Exactly, yeah. You know, he would post me on his social media all the time. I started building my social media. You know, I started posting stuff about being on tour, and it was just fun. We were having a good time. We're doing shows, and fast forward, it's already been like 10 years that this has been happening. And it's crazy to see how far we've come. Like, we came from just a pound of cookies, weed, to hoodies. And then now worldwide, it's just a worldwide brand. It's crazy, you know?
It's amazing, honestly. And from the point of view that, I mean, a couple of years ago, 10, 15 years ago, nobody would thought it's possible, right? That it can be legal business and you can what I wanted to say, that you basically guys make your hobby, what you like, as a thing you do in life,
right?
I don't want to say business, but you in Russia there's a good word, business is like дело, right? What you do, it's my business. But предприниматель is the guy entrepreneur who doing different things in life, basically, to keep moving. I like the entrepreneur more than businessman.
Right.
But as I understand, you like music, he loves me. You both love music. You connected on the music.
Yeah.
You in the cannabis in the culture, let's say, all your life, and you from the hotbed of the cannabis culture in the world. So basically, you make it's like a dream thing to make your hobby, your passion, your work, as something you make a living from, right?
Right.
And as I understand, as a businessman, you still creating. I mean, you have like a big brand, you got recognition, but you guys making like small. How can I say, like startup, small companies, I don't know, like rolling papers, different things, because in the cookie store you have like different brands, and as I understand, it's like connected to you guys a lot of.
Oh yeah, he's branched off to so many different things. There's the Vibes papers, the rolling papers. Right now, Berner's in Chicago at a 7-Eleven doing a meet and greet because there's a deal. You know, Vibes and Bic lighter, we did a deal.
And
so now they're going to be in a bunch of 7-Elevens. Vibes papers, that's a whole different brand that he started. Berner is crazy. Like he starts off so many different ideas, you know. So his Vibes
it's so
paper,
interesting.
He
even
got into like tech market. Like there's a apps that he has a battle app. I don't know if you heard of battle app, but it was like basically we had an app where you go on, you may record a video rapping to a beat. You're like battle rapping. You know how Drake and Kendrick Lamar are like beefing right now. We were doing this every day on the phone. You know, they were just dissing each other. You know, we have
it's like a social media with diss.
I did. I battled against Snoop Dogg on the app. Then Wiz Khalifa got on there too. What's his name? Schoolboy Q got on there. Like,
it's a big names out there too.
Yeah. All his like friends, he would give like, hey, get on the app. So we're taking kind of a break on Battle App right now, but for a while, Battle App was a big thing. He's focusing more on social club. So Instagram is being very strict with cannabis content. So he created his own app where you could post his weed. So there's just no shortage of things. Like he's getting into the app space. He's in the rolling paper space, clothing, the cannabis, the music. You know, he's just planting a lot of seeds. You know, he even got into the beverage company Hemp 2O. You ever heard about that one? It's a hemp drink. Hemp 2O is very popular. Like I remember when
everything he touched became
gold. In Whole Foods. For a while, it was seeming like that for sure. Like anytime he does something, it just
shout out to Berner.
It pops off.
This guy.
And now he's getting into movies. So shout out. We have a movie coming out called Splash City. And we're currently in the process of like getting it into film festivals, but it's basically about San Francisco and how the problem we're having with bipping. You know what bipping is? Be careful. Don't leave any... You're
robbing your car.
The smash and grabs. Yeah. So the movie's kind of... that's the main...
It's a big problem here.
Right. So, but he put up a big budget and really brought a whole film team to San Francisco to film this, and it's coming out. It's going to be dope. So
shout out to Berner again. But speaking about you, what inspires you more? For example, doing business or doing music? Or music business? I don't know how to put it right.
I do my own business as well. So being around all this and learning. So I started my own clothing brand. I have Wildlife. This is my clothing.
Check it out.
Thatwildlife.com if you want to. It's all about.
I'll leave a link down below.
Please, thank you. It's all about animals. Because for me, I just started it naturally. I was just posting videos of random squirrels, and I'd be like wildlife, and then the connection between people and animals. It's like sometimes I'm like a bear. Like in my song Wildlife, I said I might have been a bear in my past life. That's why I feel connected to the wildlife. Do the bear hug when I'm in a street fight, which I learned watching animal fight night. So you know what I'm saying? It's like, or I might have been a bird in my past life, and I do a bird dance. So it's like we're all have that animal energy. So it became kind of a thing. So I started a clothing brand from it, and also this smoke gun you see in front of you here, that is another project I've been working on.
What?
We definitely need to put some. Yeah, I want you to. Are you going to hit it?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
At the end, you're going to hit me.
I'm going to give you you got to get the experience. Yeah. So this is another project that I've been working on. So the clothing is one thing, but me and my partner Jeff, shout out to my boy Jeff. He's an OG plumber, and he made this smoke gun one day, and we filmed the video. We just met on Instagram, and he came to California, and then we met up. We made the video, and then Berner saw the video that we made, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you work on this and make it a cookie product, like an official cookie product?" So we just released this earlier this month. We've been working
9 meter.
Yeah, we've been working on it for like a year and a half, but this is the final product. It's here. So to answer your question, there is a lot of business that I'm also doing on my own, just aside from cookies.
Yeah.
But the music is what really I'm most passionate about. That's what I enjoy. Yeah, because I just got booked to do like a show. I'm going to do a show for Hash Whole Day. Getting to perform live in front of people, it makes me feel like a connection. I'm like following my dad's footsteps. I'm doing what he was doing. So
second generation musician, right?
Right. So I really enjoy the production side of it. I enjoy rapping. I enjoy the whole, just everything music related. But business is business. I enjoy it. You have to do it. But my real passion is definitely music.
We mentioned social media a lot. We talked about, but what do you think that social media becoming like very ruthless, violent instrument? They can ban whoever they want, right?
Yeah.
So basically, what do you think? I remember I watch my notebooks, small note. I do not every day, but sometimes do the notes. So I've been asking myself in 2007, we had this VK and Одноклассники back in the days, and Facebook.
Oh, yeah, Одноклассники.
And I was like, honestly, I have this note. Will social media become so big that you won't need a personal website? But right now, I think because they become so strict, and there's the point to have your own website too. Or like Berner did application, the same thing, like different like a view. What do you think about this? Because social media, it's I don't know. You can't control it.
Yeah.
They can block you. They can block you with the millions of followers. Like, hey, salam alaikum.
Yeah, no, it sucks. I got my page deleted. My page was down for almost a month, and for nothing. I was like, what did I do wrong? I got
people can't even start. How can I say жаловаться? I don't know.
Oh, report you,
and they will do some. You know what I mean?
No, I think
communist shit.
It is. It really feels like that. And I feel like it's unfair. They're not giving you a chance to explain yourself. It's like if they delete you, that's it. You're just gone, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's scary to think about, because it's like they're it almost feels like they're conditioning us, because who's to say in the future AI is not going to regulate you the same way? Like, oh, you did something wrong. You
texted something wrong.
Yeah, that's it. You're punished. No questions asked. Like we wrote the guidelines. That's it.
I was once blocked on Instagram because I put, like 2 years ago, I put Gangstar full clip song, a photo, and I put the song on it from the Instagram library.
Yeah.
But they blocked me because I put the lyrics too. I'm like a sleek Apache, blah, blah, blah. Lyric, he was very aggressive in the lyrics. But you have in the library this song without no explicit, without beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
So you can listen to it, but if I will put the lyrics of the same song, you will block me because I'm doing the violent content. You know what I mean?
I got blocked. I got in trouble, and my account was shadow banned for like a year.
Yeah, shadow banned. That's where I was.
Yeah. No, I did the same thing. I was watching a versus battle between Bone and 3-6 Mafia, and it was like a Juicy J song. Juicy J, he says, yeah, ho. That's his ad lib. It's like, yeah, ho. So I just wrote, yeah, ho. And I got flagged for saying, yeah, ho.
Oh my God.
I put Y-A-H-O, but I was just singing along with the song. But the same thing happened to me. And then that strike was on my account for like a year.
And it affects your account, by the way.
It does.
Much.
I couldn't monetize. I couldn't make money. Yeah, it was very frustrating. The thing is, because AI doesn't recognize, it doesn't understand certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it thought that I was saying, when I said yeah ho, but I spelled it Y-A ho, it thought I was saying you ho. So I was like trying to insult somebody. Yeah, you ho.
And maybe she was.
Maybe she was. If she was or she wasn't, I don't deserve.
Some Russian jokes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I don't deserve to be
blocked for this.
To be blocked for this. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's very, very strange content without blocking still going on online, right? So this. And what do you think, from your perspective, the future of the social media? How they, you said the very good word. What they trying to do with you? Make you basically act a certain way, the social media policy.
Like conditioning
you to do. Like in China, they have like the social score they want to do.
Oh, the social, yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, he's a moron. No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Every person has a social score. I feel like that's where they're headed. So I think we should probably destroy the internet. I've always been joking about that. We need to just... it's becoming like Skynet, like Terminator 2.
Yeah, we're abusing it. Yeah, 100%.
We need John Connor to come here, and we need to destroy the internet, because let's just go back to the way it was before. It was much better times. Now we're like stuck on our phones all the time,
You saw this robot, Boston Dynamics did this robot. It's like a dog, way back in the days. Right now, Chinese did the same thing, but on the wheels. So this motherfucker can do it all. He jumping, climbing the walls, everything.
Yeah.
He's very stable. And now Chinese put the machine guns on it.
Oh yeah.
So welcome to the wildlife.
Exactly. I thought I saw something like that.
New album coming out from Stinje, Wildlife Part 2. Believe me.
People have been asking for Wildlife Part 2. Actually,
pay the dues. Check it out.
It's all worked out. He likes paid dues.
I like it.
Everything will work out. Everything will be fine.
For sure.
And then you have to. That's the mentality you have to have. It's like no matter how bad things get, it will work out. Just do what you're supposed to do, and you'll be fine.
Be consistent, as you guys.
Right.
And what do you think about Waymo? I want to ask you a couple of questions about what's going on right now. Andrew Schultz have a very funny bit. He's like, there is the biggest Chinese population here in San Francisco. I'm not pointing that make something to do with the driverless cars, but I'm just saying why Waymo is here. Did you ever try the Waymo?
I didn't do the Waymo, but I did the Cruise. Without
the driver?
It was a driverless car, but Cruise got they're in trouble, so they're no longer allowed to operate here in San Francisco because there was something on the news happened. So what happened was somebody hit a homeless lady, and then the homeless lady bounced off this car, and the Cruise hit her. But then the Cruise, she got stuck, attached like her clothes got stuck on the cruise.
And he went.
And he kept driving. He dragged her. So they got.
She didn't die?
I'm not sure. I hope not. Maybe
it's already bad. Yes,
she might have. I don't know. I got to check on that.
It sounds bad. Yes, if he took her for a ride.
Yeah, but they try to cover it up. They didn't want to release the video because they had all the video footage of what happened.
Of course.
But once that came out, then they were like they got in trouble. So I think like it's a little scary because you're like, okay, well, my dad, when we moved here, he was a taxi driver, you know, and first thing that happened was, you know, Uber came out and kind of made taxis a little bit obsolete because everyone's taking Ubers and Lyfts, right?
Back in the days, I heard that for example, New York, the license for the yellow taxi was like $1 million.
Oh, right. So the thing is, my dad actually, he was here. It was 250,000. So he was saving up his money, all his savings. He bought a medallion. But the thing is, they put these medallions for sale the same year that Uber came out. It was a very, very sneaky thing they did. And so my dad, it was so stressful for him to go through everything, to all his paperwork, whatever. And he got the medallion
only to achieve it, and they canceled
only to find out that Uber was going to be competing. And so, I mean, the way it works, you get the medallion, you could lease the medallion to a taxi company, and they'll pay you like $3,000 a month. So you get good returns on your investment. But the thing is, with Uber, it just got lower and lower and lower. You know, it became almost. I mean, it's still making some money. Like, you know, my mom, she leases it out, but much less. And a lot of people got kind of screwed over with that whole thing. But it started with that, and then now you have cars with no drivers. So it's like, what is the future for this medallion? You know, pretty soon you're not going to need taxis at all. I didn't
know that they did this move with medallions when Uber came out. I never heard it.
The same year, yeah. It was shady shit.
Yeah, very shady. I can smell it from here, even 15 years.
No, yeah, it's messed up.
Ярик, по-русски понимаешь, но собой не говоришь.
Я говорю лучше по-английски.
Yeah, but the question... Do you follow your, let's say, musician colleagues, Russian speaking, like on rappers, because it's became very popular on that hemisphere? I don't know. Maybe are you listening to somebody in Russian?
Not currently. I mean, I'm aware of some artists, but I've always been kind of more so listening to American music. I do appreciate Russian music, but to me personally, I don't want to sound like a hater necessarily, but it just sounds to me a little inauthentic because I'm just used to like American rap music. And then when I hear in Russian, it just doesn't seem right to me. I understand what they're saying. I can understand it, but something doesn't sound right to me. So maybe it's just not for me. You know, I think they're doing great things. They're very talented. But I personally just don't really like listen to it that much. Maybe you could put me on some.
Absolutely, some new ones. You heard of Basta?
No.
Basta. I'll hook you up with a lot of great Russian rap. Yeah. Shout out to Basta, Hajime, for everybody, Jigan. So Russian hip hop is very big right now. In my hometown, we have Miyagi and Dipanda. It's a small town, Vladikavkaz, but they producing great musicians. I mentioned Valery Bisalovich Gergiev, great conductor, but Miyagi and Andy, I mean, they're huge in Russian speaking, especially countries. And even I'm watching, I totally understand what you're saying, because back in the days, because I grew up on Tupac and I loved it.
Yeah.
And especially I studied in Gymnasia number 5 in Vladikavkaz, was English speaking gymnasium, let's say. And I can understand it from the beginning, little by little. And I was not a hater, but I was like, why they sound like they want to be like Americans, but they're not Americans. And I don't like this Russian, по-русски, когда рэп, it doesn't sound authentic. I understand. But through the years, they developed kind of new style.
Right.
For example, Miyagi Andy is known for developing, they call it kalyan rap. You know, kalyan is shisha. Hookah? What do you call it?
The hookah. Yeah.
They call it kalyan in Russia. Kalyan rap is kind of different sound of rap, and they sound right now authentic. It's a little mixture of hip hop and reggae and something from Russia, and they're mixing English. and they sound authentic. I know what you're saying because some I'm like
I have to be honest. I've heard newer songs like these viral songs I see on TikTok, and
Skriptonit guys from Kazakhstan,
and I was like, oh, this actually sounds pretty good. So but originally like back
I
when
totally
rap
get what you're saying.
was new, it was a little kind of like I was like, I don't know, it's not really for. But you're right, it's evolved quite a bit. So I may need to be exposed to some new stuff that I can listen to.
Maybe we'll see a couple of feats in called feat, right? When you're doing together, featuring.
Oh, feature, features.
I'm not that big in hip hop and music. I'm sorry.
Some features. If you have some Russian artists, I would love to collaborate with them. You know, so whether it's production or rapping or all of it.
I will hook you. I know. Shout out to Hajime Records for everybody. Azamat, Sos, Batik, Chloe, everybody. So we gotta we need to, you guys need to do something because cool people around the world should work together. So they have a big following, by the way. Hajime, there's a record.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's only here, and they've been all like in the Russian hip hop charts for last 8 years, always on the top, and they don't do interviews. They have like. Isolated from the community they very isolated. So I think that's why a lot of people also interested in them, but they have definitely got the style. I just want to put some song and maybe we'll start here. Just a second. Yeah, it was popular. 58 million. Just a second.
Biggie. This beat's hard. You know these guys?
Yeah, I know Azamat. Shout out to Miyagi.
Oh shit!
I won't say we're best of friends. You know, we boys. No, I know them. Like, I know the guys from label who work with them. The prepare was cool.
Was prepare at the
course, yes.
Course. I learned, you know, I have 7-year-old Russian.
Yeah.
This is pretty hard. This is dope.
Yeah,
I like it.
So Stinje, Berner, Hajime, we're doing.
Send me this.
Yeah. So Miyagi's like locomotive. He's older guy on the label, and he's inspiration. Let's say. Yeah, I'll send you a lot of cool stuff. So
please,
I totally get what you're saying about it because this was my thing too.
Right.
It's not I'm like not patriotic of our music, but right now they clearly you don't have this. Who am I to judge him? But I'm just saying, no cringe feeling, you know what I mean?
It feels good. Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, is it if something ain't it, you know, I will say that. I'm not the type of guy who would be like, oh, I like it because it's like if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I'm gonna say I don't like it. But that sounded good, and I do hear what you're saying. The style has definitely evolved, and it's come a long way. So. It's dope.
I will feel very good if I'll be the guy who connected you. I'm not a producer, not a musician, but I'm the guy now on the label who just sitting in the back. Like,
you're just connecting dots. Sometimes
this. From my point of view, is like in the label in hip hop, it's always a guy who can't sing, who can't do nothing, but he's just, hey Stinje, can you do? I'll rhyme for me, please. Put me on a song. I'll song for you too. I'm this guy. Just kidding. So, Yarik, aka Stinje. Thank you very much, man, for once again for letting me for your secret compound. Not a lot of people allow here, and it's been very interesting. Thank you for sharing so much about your life and about your community, your team. Let's say. It's thank you very much, man. Follow Stinje on social media, and I'll put all the links below. And man, thank you very much. Basically,
thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
It's likewise having you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm on your show, but we're at our compound. So,
подписывайтесь, ставьте лайки, like and subscribe. Main Event Podcast. Stinje, Goga is in the house. Cookies. It's all good. It's a wrap. Bye bye, everybody.
Welcome to the compound. This is our lounge room, waiting room. We got our pool table here.
Not a lot of people, Yarik, allow here, right?
No, so you're getting a very special treatment.
Thank you.
It's very exclusive, very exclusive. But yes, you have all the plaques on the walls here. All these albums that Berner has done. 20 joints, certified gold. El Chivo, over 1 million sold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got the cookies logo on the ceiling.
The cookies logo on that. That's the whole vibe right there. That's what dreams are made of.
Yeah, let's stay here on the cookies logo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's walk through the hallway here. Should we turn on the mirror light? I don't even know how to turn that thing on.
Cookie strains.
Yes, a lot of artwork. You see the Berners like album covers kind of fused together. Be Real, Berner, Be Real.
Wow, looking good.
Big booty, female.
Always good. Oh, this is nice. The picture, cartina. I love it.
So this is our boardroom here. This, as you can see, the big.
Wow, wow! I didn't see.
You didn't see that before?
Cookies. It's like a light, also, right?
Yes, it's a.
Very impressive. Kruta. Wow.
All the offices, we have a lot of employees here. They come here, they work.
Today's a weekend, that's why nobody's here, right?
Yeah, pretty much. People are off doing their thing. Noah has actually has his name on here. He says, please do not remove anything without calling me.
And whose inspiration is John Gotti over there?
Oh, well, Berner did an album called Gotti, and he got a lot of clips because he met with John Gotti Jr., John Gotti's son, and we have a relationship with him. He invited us to boxing matches. He went to go watch Roy Jones fight
Tyson?
John Gotti.
Mike Tyson, John Gotti.
No, John Gotti and Jr. Is he junior or is he third? John Gotti Jr.
Oh, who's he fighting?
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, Floyd. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of inspiration from Berner's album cover, the Gotti cover. Yeah, there's a lot of cool artwork here.
Yeah, I love it.
This piece is made by. This is a Jay Colombo piece, right? Yeah, he does things out of money.
And it's cool they look the same, but it's one style, you know what I mean? It's not different.
Yeah,
they very look alike, you know what I mean? Like in one direction, let's say.
Cohesive, yeah, it works, the feng shui. So we have a dispensary here. This is like a makeshift dispensary here. So to give you an idea of what it's like when you enter a cookie store, basically.
When you go to a retail store around the world.
You see? You have your display.
Welcome to the cookie store.
Welcome to the cookie store. You have all our different strains on the shelves here. We have the Vibes papers section here, all the papers and the trays and the cones.
By the way, Yarik, I wanted to ask you, how you guys get this, brand logo, you know what I mean, with the Queen I think it's some interesting story behind it should be, because it's like a bold move, I don't know, the logo itself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the Queen herself told us we're good to go.
Green light, she gave you the green light?
That's right. We got Gary Payton, we got real collaborations with Gary Payton.
Seattle Supersonics played with Jordan in the finals, right?
This is one of our top-selling strains right here, is the Gary Payton, and he is behind this. So everything we have here is we got permission because we're collaborating. They're receiving.
That's why I thought it was very interesting.
This one is Pac-Man, the football player, Pac-Man Jones. So you got the Pac-Man pack. Yeah.
Last week I was in 49ers game, by
this
the way.
This is a good one, the Burning Hana butter. Oh, you went to the 49ers game?
Yeah, they lost to Seahawks.
That was tough, man. Yeah, and Brock Purdy's hurt, so he's not playing this Sunday. He's out.
And Kittle did a lot of it.
Kittle wasn't off, but
Boza got hurt.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. So anyway, that's the dispensary here.
Looking good.
Yes. Then you have another room with expensive furniture.
Cookies logo everywhere, Yarik. And as you mentioned on the podcast, you guys really into marketing and brand development, like logo.
That's
and
right.
did you guys thought about how much the logo itself for cookies can work. You know, the company evaluation is one thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Have you guys thought about it?
Oh, absolutely. This is something to think about every day, you know, it happens. But you see the cookies all through the compound is because we do film a lot of content here. So it is good to kind of have the branding be in there just because to keep it in people's heads, you know what I mean? So that's...
And you filming stuff and cookies also already there.
Right, exactly. But it looks beautiful too, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody loves cookies.
It's like eternity. Or infinity.
Infinity, yeah, it just goes for it's cookies forever.
Yeah, cookies forever.
Different dimensions of cookies.
Yannick, are we going this room or?
Yes. I want you to check out this room.
Yeah, please.
This is just the kind of the media room. A lot of our media guys here. You know, we got some keyboards. But one thing I want you to see is the plaque here. This is me and Young Chowder's album that we just put out first thing this year on January 1st, 2024. It went number 1 on iTunes. And yes, I produced like 6 of the 8 songs. So, you know, I'm rapping, I'm producing, and this was a really cool, fun project. You know, Young Chowder, shout out Young Chowder.
Make sure check it out and download.
Yes, we got several videos for it as well, you know, on YouTube. Good Vibes, Trapping Out the Back Door, and Blackberry Gary.
It's number 1 for a reason.
Numero 1. Yeah. So yes, that's that. Then we're gonna go in here.
Was the grand opening of the cookie store?
Yeah, this was a grand opening in New York. Yeah.
Wow.
This was a very fun grand opening. All these guys came out on the motorcycles. They shut the street down. The cookie bus is right there. I had the smoke gun. I was blasting people.
Actually, we were with the guys, and I saw this bus in MJ BizCon in Vegas in 2019, December.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
the blue bus.
Yep,
It was
there.
And I have a chance to witness your guys' marketing. That you were only one who was riding across the town in Vegas on the bus.
Yeah.
Everybody was in the convention center.
Oh, right,
the focus there, but you guys, you can see it everywhere.
Well, that's the other thing. That's like a big billboard. The cookie bus. Another idea that Berner had is like, hey, let's get the tour bus and just wrap it with cookies because it's just a mobile billboard. You know, everyone gets to see it.
You guys also inspired us. I will show you a quick thing. We have our team bus too, so it looks like this. Alani MMA.
Oh, nice.
Big Mercedes.
Yeah, there's
our logo here.
A little wildlife over there. What is that?
The guy kicking, and it's our Снежный Барс mountain, the snow leopard.
Snow leopard.
It's our
That's just.
It's our in our nation our thing. Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's our животное. Like
that's right.
Орел, yeah.
No,
it's our animal. Yeah.
Snow leopard.
Alani Athletic MMA. That's how we roll.
That's right.
Where's the magic happens? By the way.
Right. So right here, this is the studio. This is where. I mean, we would do the podcast, but we also record music here as well. You know, they got the mic in there, and so a lot of times, you know, I'll get in here, I'll start cooking up, I'll be making beats. You know, Berner, other artists, or the Burn One Entertainment artists, they're in here. Like shout out Mondo, Galaxy, Zaki, Young Chowder. G Maney, yeah, we all be recording in here, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, I can maybe play something for you.
Oh, guys, I have the same thing in my studio. I trust me, but the big one.
What, the Scarface?
Yeah, who do you trust? I trust me.
This one?
That's a good one, yeah.
I believe
it's the only thing we have mics and the thing. My studio and your studio in common.
Nice.
2 mics and one.
Right.
And the picture of Scarface.
Yeah, this is where we're going to be doing the podcast.
Yeah.
As you can see, we got the microphones, nice microphones.
Oh, so as soon as you're ready, somebody on the producing, another's rapping music.
It's one-stop shop. You do everything. Make music, you record videos.
Does the sound here is perfect. At the beginning there was a thing to do the music. That's why for podcast it's perfect to do the audio format.
Talking, right, exactly. Well. We actually haven't treated the room yet, but it'll happen eventually. It's not super dry, but it's all right. It's good enough. It could be better. That's why we have here the sound. We have these things to kind of like kill the sound a little bit, and this portable Oh, there you go. Uh-oh.
You see that? Lock and loaded.
Don't shoot. Don't shoot.
Don't shoot. Make it freestyle right now.
People tell me that. I'll do it. I'll fucking freestyle.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? The attitude. Doing this? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. No, I had yesterday I was at a comedy show and I had my first moment. Usually when people ask me for pictures, I don't mind it, but I had my first like annoying experience with a person. So I was in the bathroom trying to relieve myself.
Yeah.
And some guy was like, "Oh shit, Stinje." He was like, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm doing a picture in the bathroom. This is like Eminem.
Like this?
It's like Eminem's worst nightmare, So I was like, "Okay, let's do it," But he was a little bit drunk and stuff, so I give him the benefit of the doubt,
Have you ever heard Alexander Usyk, the Ukrainian boxer, who beat Tyson Fury at heavyweight? Right now is very big. Alexander Usyk.
The boxer?
A boxer, yeah.
Oh no!
He's
I think I did hear
undefeated, super strong. He was the absolute champion, cruiserweight, now heavyweight champion. Got he basically got all the belts, cruiserweight and heavyweight. He's the only one in the history, undefeated. So 2018, he was fighting in Moscow in boxing Muhammad Ali Cup Super Series, something like 8 best cruiserweights were fighting like a tournament through the year. And the finals was in Moscow. He was fighting the Russian dude from Russia, Murat Gassiev. It was Sochi. No, he was in the semifinals because he was watching potential opponent in the finals. And we were in Sochi. You know Sochi on the seaside.
Yeah.
So the same thing. It's a little different because I wasn't. Thank God I wasn't that annoying friend. We were in the toilet, and I'm like, "Oh, Alexander, it's not the place, but I'll see you outside, all right?" He's like, "Yeah." We have a conversation, and after that, the funny thing, he went outside the bathroom, and I'm ready to get a picture, and he's like, "Oh my God, Roberto Duran, can I take a picture?" And he went to Roberto Duran, the great boxer, and like, there's a circle of taking pictures.
Yeah. There's a lot of
circle of life.
This is the last portion of this is a little lounge break room, we got Yoshi's office right here. He does a lot of the bulk of the editing.
Yoshi, the man behind the camera. Shout out to Yoshi.
You know this right here? This movie? Have you ever seen Blow?
Yeah. It calls cocaine.
Yeah, this is
in Russian, yeah.
So this is an interesting concept where he finally introduced him to his plug, and you see he got shot. So this is where he got.
But he's a cop, right? Johnny Depp, or no?
No, you're thinking of a different one. You're thinking of
Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco, yeah.
This I want.
This is Blow.
Yeah.
This is where he was like went from selling weed to selling coke, and then But this is an interesting scene. So like Berner wanted to have this frame because he feels like in this game, there's a lot of backstabbing people, you know what I mean? That, you know what I'm saying? That trying to cut you out and,
Like in real life. Yes.
Yeah, everywhere.
One of the main things I learned in your office, you should pay a lot of attention to the brand and how you position your brand, even in your office.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's very crucial.
A lot of time here in the office.
A little marketing lesson from Yarek, aka Stinje.
That's right.
And if you don't know, now you know.
That's right. You look at right here, this is a close-up of weed. This is like a microscopic trichomes. Look at that.
I know that the perfect conditions of the trichomes, they should be not прозрачный, мутный, how you call
foggy?
Like foggy, yeah. Cloudy is the perfect condition or not?
Of the trichomes?
Yeah. When they become yellow, it's too bad, and like water, it's too early. But cloudy, as you say, that like this, I guess, this is the perfect condition to cut it. As they told me in Oxford University, I don't know.
Oh, in Oxford, that's what they tell you. So you know more than I do. I never learned about.
You know what? I'm not sure because you're not saying much, and I'm waiting like, come on, what are we talking about? And I'm like, I'm not sure the word. But yeah, that's what they say. It's perfect condition is when they get the trichomes under the microscope a little.
Damn, my boy, Oxterdam.
Represent.
He knows his shit. Shout out Sebzilla with the paint.
I love this picture a lot.
Yeah, our boy Sebzilla did that one.
Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Must пытливому уму. Main Event Podcast. Старая школа переживает ренессанс. Main Event Podcast. Принимай как лекарство. Стильный как боевик индийский. Это был реальный дискурс. Почем журавль в небе, кто красит в земле редиску. В мозг, под черепа крышку, в сердце прямо под сиську. Мы заглянем под маску, ставь лайки и жми подписку.